In a small town lived a 12-year-old boy named Arjun. Arjun loved drawing. He drew everything: birds, buildings, superheroes, forest, and even imaginary worlds that existed only in his mind. Whenever he picked up a pencil, he felt alive. But nobody noticed. His father had a different dream. When he was young, he had wanted to become a doctor. He had studied hard, but family responsibilities forced him to leave school and start working. The dream never left him. Now he wanted Arjun to become the doctor he could never be. "One day, you'll wear a white coat," his father would proudly say. His mother had her own dream. She had wanted to become an engineer, but never got the opportunity. "You must become successful," she often reminded him. Every conversation at home was about marks, exams, and careers. Nobody ever asked Arjun what he wanted. Years passed. The walls of Arjun's room slowly changed. His colorful drawings disappeared. In their place appeared science charts, textbooks, and coaching schedules. Every day looked the same: school, tuition, homework, sleep, repeat. One evening, while cleaning his room, Arjun found an old sketchbook hidden under his bed. As he turned the pages, he smiled for the first time in months. Each drawing reminded him of a dream he had forgotten. That night, something magical happened. He fell asleep holding the sketchbook. In his dream, he entered a strange city where thousands of children walked carrying heavy backpacks. The backpacks weren't filled with books. They were filled with other people's dreams. Some carried their parents' dreams, some carried their relatives' expectations. Some carried society's demands. The heavier the backpack, the slower they walked. Arjun's backpack was one of the heaviest. As he struggled forward, he noticed a small glowing bird sitting on a tree. Each door belonged to a different future. Behind one door, Arjun was a doctor. Behind another, an engineer. Behind another, a businessman. The bird opened each door. In every future, Arjun looked successful, but he didn't look happy. Then the bird opened one final door. Inside was an animation studio, walls covered with artwork, characters coming to life, stories being created, children smiling while watching them. For the first time, Arjun saw himself truly happy. "What is this?" he whispered. "This is your dream," said the bird. "But nobody will understand." Maybe they won't, but if you don't understand your own dream, nobody else ever will. The dream ended. The next morning, Arjun gathered his courage. At dinner, he spoke. For the first time, he didn't talk about marks. He didn't talk about exams. He talked about himself. He told his parents how much he loved drawing, how he wanted to create stories, how every day felt like he was living someone else's life. The room fell silent. His father looked shocked. Then slowly, he stood up and walked away. Arjun thought he had failed. A few minutes later, his father returned, carrying an old box. Inside were faded notebooks, old certificates, yellowed photographs, and a letter. His father handed it to him. "This was my medical college acceptance letter," he said softly. "I never went. For years, I thought if you became a doctor, my dream would finally come true. But I never realized it wasn't your dream." His mother's eyes filled with tears. She too admitted she had been trying to relive her own dream through her son. That night, for the first time, they didn't discuss careers. They discussed happiness. Months later, Arjun joined an art and animation program. His parents still encouraged him to work hard, but now they encouraged his dream, not theirs. Years passed. One day, an animated movie appeared in theaters. The credits rolled. At the top was a name: Arjun Sharma. His parents sat in the audience. As the screen faded to black, they smiled. They had finally learned the most important lesson. Children are not born to complete their parents' dreams. They are born to discover their own.